Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we have an interesting story for you in English, but before we dive into it, I've prepared something special. I want to help you understand the story even better, so I've chosen 5 important words from the story and their meanings. Learning these words will help you follow along more easily and enjoy the story even more. So, let's take a quick look at these words before we begin. Wilt, verb. To become weak or dry, especially when something doesn't get enough water. Example: without water, the plant will wilt. Neglect, verb. To ignore or not take care of something as you should. Example: when Javier neglected the garden, the plants began to die. Patience, noun. The ability to wait calmly without getting upset. Example: you need patience to fix problems in a relationship. Restore, verb. To bring something back to how it was before or to improve it. Example: Javier worked to restore his marriage. Blame, verb. To say that someone is responsible for a problem or mistake. Example: Javier didn't want to blame Laura for the problems in their marriage. Alright. Now that you know these 5 key words, you're ready to listen to the story. Remember, learning new words helps you understand and speak English better, so listen closely, and let's get started with our story. Javier sat quietly on the porch of his father's house. He felt sad and confused. His marriage with Laura, his wife, was in trouble. They fought almost every day. They didn't talk kindly to each other anymore, and when they did talk, it always ended with shouting. Just last night, Laura had said something that scared him. She talked about leaving him. Javier didn't want to lose her, but he didn't know what to do. His father, Carlos, watched him from the other side of the porch. He could see that something was very wrong. Carlos had been married for a long time and had learned many lessons about love. He knew that sometimes words were not enough to teach. It was better to show. Javier, his father said, "Let's go for a walk. I want to show you something." Javier stood up, feeling a bit confused. He followed his father to the backyard. There, in the corner, was a small garden. It didn't look very healthy. The plants were dry, and the leaves were turning brown. "Do you remember this garden?" Carlos asked. "Yes, we planted it together a few years ago," Javier replied. "That's right," Carlos said. "It was once full of life, with green leaves and beautiful flowers. But I got busy, and I stopped taking care of it. I didn't water the plants, and I didn't give them the care they needed. Look at it now. It's dry and the plants are weak." Javier looked at the garden. It was sad to see it like this. He remembered how beautiful it used to be. Carlos knelt down next to one of the plants. He touched its dry leaves gently. "But this garden is not dead. It may look bad now, but it can be saved. It needs water, sunshine, and care. If I take care of it every day, little by little, the plants will grow strong again." Javier listened carefully. He started to understand what his father was trying to say. "Javier," Carlos continued, "marriage is like this garden. In the beginning, it's full of love and joy, like this garden was full of flowers. But over time, if you stop paying attention to it, if you don't take care of it, it can start to fade. You might not notice it at first, but slowly problems will grow. If you don't fix them, the relationship can start to feel weak, like these plants. Javier felt a lump in his throat. He thought about his relationship with Laura. At the beginning, everything was good. They laughed together, spent time together, and loved each other deeply. But now, things had changed. He had been busy with work and other things. He hadn't been spending time with Laura or showing her the love she needed. He could see now that their marriage was like the dry garden, neglected. But, Carlos said, just because your marriage is having problems doesn't mean it's over. Just like this garden, you can bring it back to life. But it will take time, patience, and care. You have to put in the effort, even when it feels difficult. You can't fix it overnight, but with small steps you can make things better. Javier looked at the dry plants. Do you think it's really possible? Can things really get better between me and Laura? Carlos smiled gently. Yes, son, it's possible. But you have to be willing to work for it. You need to talk to her, spend time with her, and show her that you care. Just like you water a plant every day, you need to show love every day. It's not about big actions or grand gestures. It's about the small, everyday things. Little by little, you can heal your marriage. Javier thought deeply about his father's words. He realized that he had been waiting for things to fix themselves. He had been hoping that the problems would just go away. But now he knew that love, like a garden, needed care. He needed to work on it, and he needed to be patient. That night, when Javier went home, he decided to talk to Laura. He didn't want to fight. He wanted to fix things one small step at a time. They sat down at the table, and instead of blaming or arguing, Javier spoke calmly. Laura, he said, I know things have been hard between us. I know we've both been upset and I'm sorry. I want to make things better. I don't want us to fight anymore. I want us to be happy again, like we used to be. Laura looked at him, surprised by his gentle tone. I want that too, she said quietly. But I don't know how we can fix things. Javier thought for a moment and remembered his father's garden. We don't have to fix everything at once, he said. We can start small. We can work on it together, day by day. Just like a garden needs water every day to grow, we can take care of our relationship. We can talk more, spend more time together, and be kind to each other. Laura nodded slowly. Okay, she said. Let's try. From that day on, Javier and Laura worked on their marriage. They talked more, laughed more, and spent more time together. It wasn't always easy, but they were patient. Little by little, their love grew stronger again. One weekend, Javier visited his father. They walked to the garden together. The plants were looking better now, greener, healthier, and more alive. Carlos smiled at his son. See? With a little care, things can grow again. Javier smiled back. You were right, Dad. It's the small things that make the difference. And just like the garden, Javier, and Laura's marriage began to bloom again, one small step at a time. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, make sure you don't miss our next video, where we have an exciting and engaging story for you to practice your listening skills.